simply put the adapter like this and connect quickly the probe.
So is there any difference for using cuvette or not using cuvette?
Yes, I mean without the use of cuvette, since you are directly on the tube, you lose a bit of accuracy, but we are talking about 5-6%. And on top of that, you can also, if needed, you can adjust and correct the parameters during the procedure. We'll see later on how.
Okay, can calibrate it through the machine, right? Through the monitors. You do the auto calibrations.
Yes.
Using without cuvette.
Yes, I mean you have to pass like a diagnostic phase. So once you switch the monitor on, you have a diagnostic phase which is mandatory, but is I mean very fast. It requires only a few seconds to be performed. So you just have to remember to keep the probes connected on their parking places, or I mean like to your hand like this, because the probe has to see dark to be calibrated, but it requires really a few seconds. And the capnometer disconnected, that's all. Capnometer disconnected like this from the oxygenator. So in this way you will perform the diagnostic phase that will require, as here, a few seconds. So it will say connected, not connected, and you will be able to continue the procedure. So on the and the unique landing breath capnometer. So the capnometer that has to be connected during ECMO procedures to the ventilator and is able to provide carbon dioxide related parameters during ECMO procedures related to the patient. On top of that, you've got also the blood flow meters. As we said, you will got the primary blood flow meter on the arterial line on top of an optional secondary blood flow meter that you can decide to use or not. So once you pass the diagnostic phase, the first thing that you have to choose is the work mode. As we said, Landing Advance is able to be used and is validated both for CPB and ECMO. So once you pass the diagnostic, you can choose between CPB and ECMO. You choose ECMO. We create our patient, so some data are mandatory, but in case you have no time, you can also skip this phase, and it is really appreciated because when you are in emergency, you have to be as fast as possible. And you continue. When you continue, you enter directly in the work, in the treatment page. I mean, in the ECMO work mode. So let me just put the simulation page because I want to show you all the parameters. Because since we do not have all the accessories connected, we do not have all the parameters. Okay, so here we are. So you got this large graphic interface that is able to show all these parameters measured and calculated on top of the graphs. I mean, you can choose up to 8 graphs to be shown in real time. I mean, you can choose up to, so by chance you can say like that. So you will got up to 4 slots. In each slot you can add a new parameter, such as this one. So in each slot you will got 2 parameters. So starting from the top, you've got the measured parameters. It means arterial parameters, venous parameters, the parameters related to ML, which is membrane lung, so it means the oxygenator side parameters. You've got the possibility to connect the pressure transducers to have the pressures, as well as we said a secondary blood flow meter, so a secondary blood flow. And then you've got all the parameters related to the carbon dioxide, which are the ones that we need to check on to evaluate the condition of the patient. So thanks to the patient side, I mean landing breath capnometer connected to the ventilator, you will got the exhausted carbon dioxide and gas flow from NL, which is native lung, so from our patient. Then landing advance will be able to automatically calculate all these parameters. It means the total volume of oxygen delivered thanks to the oxygenator, and this parameter is fundamental because we can check on the condition of the oxygenator and understand if it's time to change the oxygenator or not. Then you've got the total volume of carbon dioxide, ml, which stays from membrane lung, the total volume of carbon dioxide, NL, which stays for native lung. So then you will got the total volume of carbon dioxide, which is the addition of these ones, and then the total volume of carbon dioxide related to the total volume of carbon dioxide of the patient will give you the carbon dioxide ratio native lung, and this is the percentage we were talking about previously. I mean, when this percentage reaches 50%, especially during VV ECMO, we can start to think about the weaning process of the patient. On top of that, you got also the RR, which means respiratory rate and tidal volume, and the DO2, I mean delivery of oxygen, ml, so the quantity, the delivery of oxygen with the oxygen made by the oxygenator in real time. On top of that, you got the possibility to, as we said, to customize and tailor everything, starting from the alarms. I mean, you can enable or disable all the alarms, and put a minimum and maximum range for each parameter. You can insert events. It means that you can pre-create default events, but also create new ones during the procedure. I mean, if something specific happens and you want to save that moment, you can do that. You got also a registry of all the recorded events occurred. You can, as we said, modify the graphs based on your needs, and again, based on the blood gas tests that you perform, you can correct the parameters. It means that when you perform blood gas tests, you can adjust the parameters. In this way, the landing will automatically apply the K, which is a correction factor, automatically later on in the following readings. Again, we said that landing advance is equipped with an integrated DMS, so integrated data management system, that can be totally customized. I mean, here you see a checklist, but it represents like the classic checklist, but each hospital has its own, so it's fundamental for each hospital to have, you know, its own checklist. So we can do that. We can modify each field. I mean, each fold. We can modify the general information inserted, usually inserted and fulfilled. I mean, everything is customizable. The parameters shown, the graphs shown, but also the colors. I mean, you can modify everything. You can decide each color and choose each color for each parameter. For example, in this case, you got the venous parameters in blue, the arterial parameters in red. So everything is totally customizable because we want to address also the clinical needs in terms of personalization, you know, of the user interface. Everything clear? Do you have some questions?